this is my week 1 assignment for ITI 664. This is discussing my topic of study. So in this presentation, first I want to introduce myself. My name is Sarah LeDuc, and this is my final class in my program at National University, ITI 664. I have previously taught in South Korea for more than 6 years. I taught ESL and I taught elementary, middle school, and then eventually taught in university. I have substitute taught since I've been in the U.S. living in Dublin, California, and starting this school year in 2019, I started teaching 6th grade as a core teacher here. So my research topic involves UDL and EL, learning in the classroom. So Universal Design for Learning is a methodology and practices that are used to help engage students in the content in the classroom and allow that all students represented in the classroom can find the best way for them to learn. And my topic is about finding out how those strategies and practices, how effective they are for ELs in the classroom or English learners. I want to investigate this because when I started this program, I started learning about UDL, Universal Design for Learning, and I found it to be a really intriguing idea. And since then, since I've done observations and interviews of other teachers, I found that it is used quite a lot in the classroom to accommodate students with a variety of different needs and challenges. And looking at ELs in particular, I've worked with them specifically in the context of ESL classrooms that are designed specifically for them, but I have yet to encounter them a lot in the general education classroom setting, and I think it's a very different way of teaching and way of communicating the content to them, and so I'm very interested in how that affects their outcomes. So the research questions that I have devised so far are: 1, is Universal Design for Learning an effective teaching strategy for English language learners in a general education classroom? And also, how does UDL as a teaching strategy improve outcomes for ELs? So I've read a lot about Universal Design for Learning and a lot about English language learners in general education classrooms, and I'm interested to see some concrete kind of evidence or data to support the use of that, because I've seen a lot of ideas about using it and suggestions that it would be effective, but I've yet to see, again, data that's showing that that's actually the case. So my plan to find answers for these research questions is going to involve online research. It's going to involve researching texts through the National University Library and elsewhere, as well as professional journals. I plan on doing interviews with members of the English language department at my school district and possibly others if I can get in contact with them and arrange that. I have already been in contact with 2 individuals at the English department at my district and San Ramon Valley Unified School District, who specialize with training teachers in supporting ELs in the classroom. See, it says, what other resources have I used? My experience with my critical friend has been very positive, and I think that they will definitely be implemented in my research proposal. They will be helping me to ensure that everything is organized well, that I have supported my claims well, that I'm following the criteria that's been set out for me. Up until this point, my critical friend has been essential in making sure that my work is the best that it can be, and I will continue to do that. The next question is, what was your experience accessing the National University Library? So my experience there was very helpful. They seem to have a lot of the texts that we're looking at available online, thankfully, and a lot of other really helpful, interesting, not just textbooks, but other media as well, journals and other research papers that you can access on there. So far in my research, most of my resources have been from that library. So my methodology that I'll be using is that for this study, I plan to address the purpose of my research by collecting data from text sources, interviews in order to show evidence for the ideas that I propose concerning UDL and ELs in the general education classroom. So I'm looking for, again, solid data that's been collected. I've already found several studies where they've tracked students, English language learners, and before and after the implementation of UDL in their classroom, and see the improvements and the specific areas that they've improved on, as well as interviews. I want to talk to professionals who excel in, who specialize in helping support ELs in the classroom, and what their experience is with teachers using UDL practices and methodology in the classroom, and how that's affected the outcomes of the English learners that they have. Finally, it says, to answer the question, if you could travel back in time, what kind of advice would you give yourself in terms of research strategies for curating time management and organization? What are your plans for future after completing the master's degree? So if I could go back in time, and I would talk to myself before I started this research proposal, I would probably want to do a lot more research before even laying this out, because I feel like I've been learning how to make this research proposal as I'm going, which makes sense because that's what we're doing in the class, but at the same time, being that it's the first time I've done it, there's been a lot of places where I've stumbled, or things have become a challenge, I've had to redo things, or I found out that I'm kind of doing it incorrectly. I would go back and do research on how to do that first and get more samples or examples of how to do the research paper before that. And then the final question of what are my future plans after completing my master's degree is that I just plan on continuing to work at the school I'm at. I'm on an emergency credential this year because I have not completed my internship yet, but I hope to continue on at the school I'm at next year and hopefully complete the internship and continue working in my district because it's an amazing district, and so far I love teaching 6th grade and I love the level I'm at. And there are many ELs in my classroom. There are a lot of people who moved to my district from other countries. There are a lot of companies in the area who bring in workers from their other branches or international locations. People get transferred here a lot. And so I think that my work with ELs in this master's program will be incredibly helpful in assuring that those students do their best and have the absolute best outcome that they can, and that their learning of the English language does not affect their school success in general. So